Amazing song right there. And by the way, Gigi, I've just been thinking, it's been quite some months.
Yeah.
We celebrated our first year anniversary of Hope at Dawn just last year in November.
Yes.
And so far it's been good.
So far, so good.
Quite some months in already.
Yes. It's been, 15 months? So we are now into, I think, the 16th month. We are thanking God for the strides that we have recorded right here at Hope at Dawn. But maybe, we were discussing this and we were like, why not ask our viewer? Because we are here to ensure that they are edified, they are encouraged, they are inspired, they are educated as well. And so, having marked the 15 months, what is that one thing that you feel ingeongeza for sure ingekuwa bomba kabisa, or maybe hii segment ni sawa mmeichapa for the 1 year, but if you would find an alternative, ingekuwa bora zaidi. Unajua, it's the late Kijana Wamalwa who said a good idea always leads to a better idea. And so we are looking for that better idea. So two things. Number one, the one thing that we have not been covering over the last 15 months, and you feel, majama, ongezeni hii kitu hapo. It will add to the show. Or maybe there's something that we have done over the last 15 months and you think, give it a rest. Why don't you share with us? Our WhatsApp platform is open, 0708 222 323, and we will appreciate your feedback, your comments, because we are here to ensure that we are growing as well.
That's true. That's very true. So let us know. You can send us your feedback through our WhatsApp number or just through any social media platforms that you're comfortable with. We would love to hear from you. And even for those who would love to connect with us directly at Beatrice Nudi, George Gishuru, you can also look for us up there on social media and also send us a DM with regards to this topic or any topic that you would love for us to usher in, or one that you would say, okay, let's put a pause on this one. We are open and we want to serve you. We want to ensure that what we are giving out is what you really need. So we're going to jump right over to the newspapers. Just have a look at what is being reported in our dailies.
All right. Let's start with the Daily Nation. We have the online version of the papers, and the Daily Nation, the front page, they go with the headline, Red Flags in Ruto's Housing Projects. That is the headline they are going with. The government has entered into 49.5 billion shillings affordable housing contracts on parcels of land with missing title deeds. Okay. Now, this raises questions on how Kenyans buying houses from the projects will get sectional titles to own the units in absence of original titles at a time when the affordable housing program continues to operate in an opaque regulatory environment, beneficiaries risking their hard-earned cash. That is the question that is being posed on pages 4 and 5 inside the Daily Nation. And there is actually, they're reporting here that there is a very low uptake because remember, for you, especially being employed, you are having, how much is it? 1.5% of your salary being deducted and going to the housing levy, the kitty, for the affordable housing projects. And so for you to actually not get, but for you to, in a way, qualify to own these houses, you're actually supposed to register. And the way you register is that the Boma Yangu platform. So despite, I know you are 1.5 is being deducted and all, but that is not enough. You still need to go to the Boma Yangu platform to register. So that now with that, not that again it's guaranteed, but now somehow Piki Piki Ponki can fall on you and you can get a unit.
Wow.
All right. So apparently there is a very low uptake of the same because according to the Nation, only 1 in 599 adults are saving at Boma Yangu platform to own the affordable houses.
Wow.
Yeah, but of course, it's a project that has had its challenges.
Yes.
It's there's a low uptake, of course, as we have said, but also the way it is being managed, it's in a very opaque manner. I was watching the other day the CS in charge of housing, and also she was, in a way, she did not assure me as a contributor to this project that at least I will be able, after contributing, get a house, because it's neither a tax. They were saying, yeah, you just contribute, and then somehow you might get a house. But anyway,
neither here nor
but
there.
now, yeah, exactly. But now this is even more problems, because if they are building it in parcels of land that does not have title deeds, what happens when the project is complete and all, and then the owner, from somewhere, they come up and they go to court and they have legit documentation.
Yeah.
Now, what happens? To them.
Yeah.
So it's a story that you can read on page 4 and page 5. And actually, you need to go to Boma Yangu and register. And once you register again, you need to be contributing on top of what you are deducted. You need to contribute.
So there's still another amount.
Yeah, you need, so that you save a particular amount on top of this, so that you can qualify.
Wow, this is quite interesting. It's like a roller coaster. And I'm also thinking of the other thing, that even when they built these affordable houses on government property, you know what that means? That if at all we are to have a new regime, what if the next person comes and does away with that affordable housing?
For them, they are not affordable housing.
So
they are not in the business.
What happens to the houses that people have already possessed? That means they are going to be reclaimed.
Yes.
Or aseme mimi nataka kujenga shule kwa hii land.
Exactly.
Hii land yenye mmeka
hospitali.
Because it's government property at the end of it all. So like the future of this, there are things that a president can begin almost like kusema niko hapa for good.
Yes.
But actually when they leave, what about the next person that comes in? What happens to such a thing that has already been so far gone at this point? So there is a lot. People should think twice even before.
We are pesa inakatwa, lakini sema tutoa tu kwa roho safi.
Kwa roho useme hii.
Acha tu nisaidie serikali.
Acha ifanye vile inataka.
To try and achieve their goal, because to be honest, and we are talking from a point of openness and all. It's lacking. And then, of course, even them who are trying now to, the government, they have not really come out and explained in, explicitly and convinced us. But instead, it's all threats, it's all what, no. Anyway. Page 4 and 5 inside the Daily Nation. And then I see another story here. Untouchables probe into jobs scam goes cold. Now, thousands of vulnerable job seekers cumulatively lost over 2.5 billion shillings to suspect job recruitment agencies that promised them better lives abroad but left them in misery. In a puzzling twist, the detectives investigating the rogue companies were transferred to remote areas, with the culprits still roaming free and luring other unsuspecting victims. Who is protecting these untouchables? Good question, because money was paid. Many had these hopes of moving to, abroad, seeking greener pastures, but they lost their money and still they are roaming in the streets without the jobs. And those who lured them are actually also walking scot-free. It's a story that is covered on page 2. And then a very interesting story here, it's politics, of course. Like Uhuru, Ruto's reign now at the mercy of Raila. It's on page 7. And you remember Raila Odinga again during the Uhuru Kenyatta regime, after the handshake and all. He was a thorn in the flesh before that handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta. And then again, now we see sort of history repeating itself. And Baba, as he is fondly known by to his supporters, again could be the one to calm the storm for the Ruto regime. Will his entrance into the government bring peace and offer the beleaguered government a lifeline? That is the question many are asking, and we wait and see because he's still roaming the nation. Baba, he's saying, I'm still consulting and I will be declaring what the ground is saying very soon. But some are already saying, we know how the story will end. So there is nothing new that we should be expecting. I don't know. Yeah. But you never know. He's a man of many fasts.
It's
so
true.
He might shock us. So let's wait and see. Yeah. Then it's a big win for employees on pay after layoffs in a precedent-setting judgment that advances the rights of workers and trade unions. An appellate bench comprising Justices Pauline Nyamweya, Lydia Achode and Weldon Korir have upheld the finding of the Employment and Labor Relations Court that former Barclays Bank, now Absa Bank Kenya, employees would benefit from a collective bargaining agreement signed after they exited service, but covering the period when they were still in employment. That's a story that you can get on page number 3. And then there is a betrayal and bloodshed cover-up of JM Karaoke's assassination. It's a story that is covered on page 10. Then the DN2 junior sport pullout, eyes on the ball. Yvonne hopes to become an international footballer in future. It's a story that is on page 2 of the DN2 pullout, and that is what is being reported in the Daily Nation.
All right, and coming down to the Standard, of course, we have the very first story here beginning. It's President Raila. That's a rhetorical question. Is he a co-president? Inasema a political realignment is taking shape as ODM leader Raila Odinga nears a deal with President William Ruto. And the agreement, modeled after past power-sharing pacts, could see Raila assume a non-executive prime minister role. History repeating itself. Sources say plans are underway to prepare Harambee House, traditionally the seat of the presidency, for him. And this is a story covered on page 4. Raila Odinga here is saying, I arrived in Mombasa last week from Dubai and met President William Ruto and his people at State House, where they gave me an agreement to sign touching on several issues. I told them I could not sign before consulting the party members.
So there were documents?
There were documents presented to be signed. And that is why the question is Raila coming in as the co-president?
And now that explains why he's on Meet the People tour. Whether he should sign or not.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, wow, this is interesting. I mean, these political wrangles, we can only sit back, pick our popcorns and watch from a distance.
Kenyan politics.
Usieke kwa roho. Tafadhali, do not. And moving on, I see Kivuitu family in bitter feud over how to share wealth. This is interesting. This is a story covered on page 6. So there's a family feud right there over how to share wealth. And I think it's some of the things that we usually mention. Simuelewane tu. Mbona kupigana vitu vya dunia hivi tutaviwacha.
Mwenyewe ameziacha. Yeye ndiye mwenyewe na ameziacha.
Sembuse sisi wengine. Anyway, moving on, I see charity or playing politics. Fundraisers make comeback. I see here that despite a state ban on public fundraisers, President William Ruto and senior officials are back to making hefty church donations. President Ruto pledged 20 million shillings to Nairobi Church yesterday, vowing to give to God. Despite criticism, give to God has been put in quotes. The revival of fundraisers raises fresh concerns over transparency, accountability, and political influence in philanthropy. 20 million shillings to give to God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Ni sawa. Abarikiwe.
We cannot say much. We cannot only say abarikiwe, abarikiwe sana. It is well, because
Yeah.
You know, just
amesema ni Mungu, so
we give to God. You know, we cannot. Who are we? You know, sisi ni kina nani? It's a personal decision, and the church for receiving that also a personal decision.
Personal decision.
Yeah, we just need to observe Nairobi Church in the next few sermons.
Yeah, exactly.
What is going to be propagated? Yes. Because sometimes, you know, we are not living in times when we tunashtuliwa na mambo, because this has happened before, yes. And mostly it's political interest oriented, and that is why the other time I think the Catholic bishops rejected it because they knew,
and actually had a go at them.
Yes.
Yesterday as alikuwa anapeana, he reminded kuna wengine walikataa.
Oh my, hey, jamani.
But you see, also as a church, and I remember, you see, this reminds, and the most unfortunate thing for me is that what the young people are agitating for when they went to the streets in June of last year, we are back to the same old games.
That's the
because
sad part.
The young people, they were agitating for good governance. They wanted, you know, transparency, not just from the government, but also, you remember, Occupy churches.
Occupy churches.
You remember, and young people were tired, and they want to go to church and hear sermons. They hear encouragement. You know, they be told about the things of the Lord, and not politicians being given platforms at the altar and all. And we are back to the same thing. And Kenyans were wondering, where is this money coming from? Because when it comes now to the healthcare of the country, it's on its knees. When it comes to the education of the country, it's on its knees. So then again, as church leaders, as the church, where is your voice?
Yeah.
You know, because the church as well should be the voice for the people, should be speaking for the people. And so if we again go back to the same old games that we were playing, and the young people, rightfully, and they came out and said, "This, we don't like this."
Yeah.
But we are still going back to that. What does that, you see, it's a case of, yes, there's no more Occupy churches. We don't have the demos and all. But it doesn't mean that these people are not seeing. And no wonder, and it's a controversial statement for me to make, no wonder we keep saying young people have shunned churches, you know. And no wonder the statement, "I left church, not God."
Yes.
Because of the shenanigans that we were watching, and we continue to watch in churches, in the guise of mambo ya Mungu and all.
Yeah.
No, we should be real.
It makes no sense.
Exactly.
Because just the other day we were talking about how many even the benefits are being removed from students.
Yes.
Si mambo na medical.
Exactly.
The exam waiver fee.
Yes.
20 million shillings. Just imagine what it could do even for those basic needs. Because how can we say we are giving to God, but then his people
are suffering.
You know? It makes absolutely no sense. It really does not make sense. And even the churches, this is a challenge.
Yeah, you know, we are trying to even dab God that this is a God who is greedy.
I know.
Because why are we taking all this money to God, yet his people are
the health sector is messed up. Literally. Oh, may God help us. And this is a call to churches to arise and in fact say, hii pesa unatupea, how about we put it somewhere that is going to benefit the common mwananchi? We continue to pray so that God will really open the eyes of the people. But anyway, let me just read one more so that we can look at the video of the day. See, time is so much spent today. Kidogo tumebobea.
Ilibidi tuongee tutoke.
Ilibidi tutoke kwa kusema kweli. All right, the Health and Science Pullout today is covering inhumed danger posed by anthrax bacteria, and that's a story you can catch on the Health and Science Pullout this morning. And lastly, the sports page is what it will take for McCarthy to succeed. That's on page 30 and also 31, and that's what is being reported on the Standard.
All right, we take a short break to pave way for the VOD, that is the video of the day, and then we will be back. See you in a short while.